For more than a year, we've seen content coming out for the incredible one-man developed Turbo Overkill, one of the most impressive indie first-person shooters I've ever seen. Hell, not just in the indie scene, this exact concept and gameplay could easily make for an excellent big-budget title. The level design, the weapon synergy and creative possibilities, the music, there's just so much to love. The final chapter of Turbo Overkill is finally here, but it's part 1. It's actually the majority of the Act 3 experience, and a couple more levels and a boss fight are on their way for part 2. I've been fortunate enough to be able to play this for a few weeks before release and really dig into it. To the surprise of no one, it's excellent. Last time we were here, our grand battle with Maw left us devastated. Our chainsaw leg ripped off and our brain stepped on right in front of us. And then Maw combined the things and became super powerful. We get a dramatic intro showing Johnny laying there for what appears to be months, just waiting to die, when suddenly a drone of some kind flies in and takes control of an enemy soldier. We get rescued and taken into a laboratory for repairs. Our body is cut apart by lasers, most of it tossed away, and we are regrown. This part kind of reminds me of RoboCop 2, so already I'm in a good mood. The drone fuses itself with us, and this turns out to be Sin, the evil AI of Turbo Overkill that, I'm not gonna lie and say I know the story. We wake up in some kind of virtual representation of our consciousness or something, and we hear a conversation between Sin and our own AI helper Sam that's been with us since the beginning. Sin, though not our friend, needs our help to stop Maw because his quest for power and immortality will destroy the universe. There's a really cool vocal effect here that seems to be fading in and out of 2 different takes from the actress, if I'm not mistaken. We get some bizarre shifts in tone that add to the spookiness.
I was born to birth a perfect paradise, and for a time you helped enforce that vision, until certain misfortunes waylaid you from your path.
So it looks like we take the deal and we emerge from some kind of sludge, a new version of ourselves. Sin has been kind enough to leave our arsenal waiting for us on the table, and we learn it's been 2 years since our battle with Maw. We immediately meet a new enemy type, some toxic soldiers. They lay down toxic puddles and throw projectiles. When they die, they explode in a toxic shower. The store gives us a choice of new augments, some of which have serious implications on the gameplay as you progress. My favorites right away are the Centaur portals, which are like instant grapples when you see these orbs around the levels, and the combined health and armor gain from chainsaw kills, which frees up a space for something else or can be stacked with your other health and armor augments for extra gains. However, looking at these available upgrades, I found myself wondering what augments I had already equipped to make better decisions about what I wanted to buy. So I think they need to add a feature to this menu to be able to open your matrix and see what you currently have set. The opening combat spaces remind you of a few important aspects of Turbo Overkill's combat flow, smart movement, and the grapple hook added in Act 2. You have to use grapple points to get out of the first area, and then you're jumping over insta-kill hazards while dangerous foes are sniping you. There's a grapple section that encourages use of explosives by putting you right up against a bunch of dudes guarding the ledge you have to get up to, and then a faraway tanky enemy is a good opportunity to use the charge shot of the sniper rifle. If you didn't remember how to play Turbo Overkill, you will now. The first corruption zone forces use of your heavy ammo weapons, the Uzis and chain gun, and you really get to see the usefulness of the new Centaur portals flying around the room. Burn your slow-mo at the end to focus down the maulers, and then you'll meet another new enemy. These heavy toxic guys that lob toxic blobs at you and shoot what's basically like a toxic flamethrower. They're really tanky, and thankfully their projectiles can be caught with the plasma rifle and thrown back. Make sure you're not forgetting that now game-defining mechanic. Catch enemy projectiles, catch your own rockets and sticky bombs, it's the best. But there seems to be a new enemy type that spams you with plasma, so if you're just trying to absorb all the projectiles, you're gonna get blasted. It's a cool counter. The first gun store grants 3 weapon upgrades, and they are insane. Super shotgun explosives. Any part of the spread that doesn't hit an enemy will cause an explosion on a surface. Fucking splash damage super shotgun blast. We have remote detonation cluster bombs. Charge up multi-rockets, detonate all of them, and just watch the madness rain down from above. And can you believe it? Instant firing ability on the ion cannon. Absolute insanity. These new skills will certainly help in the first challenging arena fight of level 1, a room that will quickly remind you of how vicious this game can be on higher difficulties. I'm sure people who dedicate a lot of time to Turbo Overkill and already have it mastered will fly through, but for the rest of us who are coming back months after playing Act 2, it's definitely a challenge. Level 2 shows us the reality of our situation. We've woken up into all-out war as civilization is fighting against the forces of Terratech under the control of Maw. Right away, they're giving us some really ambitious visuals to set the tone, and I love it. And the intro cinematic has a nice little tribute to the opening of Terminator 2, which is appropriate. An early section has us hopping from tower to tower, and it's a great point to remember the functionality of your telefrag ability. Charge up the sniper rifle and teleport right inside some fool. Incredibly fun and useful. I can't imagine how dedicated players are using this thing, it must be crazy. A big part of this level is focused on exploring to find 10 eyeballs that you gotta shoot. Well, not really exploring, you just follow the waypoints and shoot them. That's fine, games like this really break down if you're stuck wandering around for 20 minutes looking for stuff. This part is okay, it's not the best mission, but the verticality is pretty fun to play with. Once you open the mouth of the beast, or whatever this thing is, you head down into some disgusting flesh pits with chomping mouth hazards all over the place. It's some really creative and demented stuff. Some platforming gets you through, and you destroy the first heart, which sucks you into a pool of blood. A short swim gets you out, and now you're looking for a few more hearts. And now it's time to hop back into the car from Act 1. We have a pretty cool flying section, tearing guys apart with the minigun. But you know what? After having played a similar section in Act 1, I felt like we needed a little something more to play with here. So I pitched the idea of adding rockets to the car. And what do you know, they're actually here. See guys, I do have a good idea every now and then. Leave a comment below about how I've completely ruined the car sections by adding rockets. Make sure it's at least 7 paragraphs long, mention Doom Eternal a lot, bring up Ultra Kill and Dark Souls. The most insane commenter wins a free t-shirt from my merch store as long as you have a way for me to contact you on Twitter or Discord. Not a joke. So you gotta fly around blowing up the hearts which open your path, and I love the colors in this area. Turbo Overkill's visuals really shine when they use neon, and it's nice to see that Act 3 pushes a lot harder in the visual department. There's a lot more memorable moments this time around. Man, these purple bubbles though, I want to shoot them. Don't they look like they should explode? I get why they don't, because then you would think they were important to blow up and that would be confusing. Still, it's weird. The final fight is a solid arena that's really claustrophobic, but it has Syntech portals up above to keep you vertical, with a heavy damage pickup. I like to use the ion cannon here. Destroying the last heart exits the level. A fun level, a bit uneven but memorable. We take our car up into... I have no idea what this place is supposed to be. Is this space? It's really weird, but it's cool. We get to do some fun grapple platforming mixed with a little combat, and once we get inside this massive ship, we meet a new enemy, this smiley face guy that runs at you. Pretty easy to take down, but they mix well into larger fights. And they actually explode if you shock them with the stun grenade, so you gotta be careful with that. You work through access tunnels, these guys popping out from around corners, kind of an old school Doom feeling. We get to fight in a toxic arena with good verticality, and then the toxic goo starts rising and you gotta ascend. Sadly, this is a missed opportunity because it only rises by 1 level. By comparison, look at this level from Warhammer Boltgun, where you're constantly ascending these towers, dealing with enemies, trying to find the right way up, as lava continues to rise. Or in Dread Templar, where you gotta move forward quickly or the rising lava melts you. These kinds of pressure scenarios are nice surprises, occasionally. You don't want too many of them, and I think this toxic section could have been better. Hey, remember these guys? I'm sure they're everyone's favorite enemy. They're sparingly used, not so bad. Very few appearances make them a welcome entry. Lock-on pistols do wonders against them. I like the addition of the eyeball turrets. They generate energy shields that protect them and anyone behind them, so you can wait for them to shut down to take them out, or if you get in close, you can pass through the shield and pop them with a shotgun. It's cool that we have the choice, it makes them fit into the pacing of combat better. Exiting the level gives us a new ability, the chainsaw arms. It's an incredible ability, one that can trivialize pretty much any encounter. You can wildly swing or charge up an advancing fist and it annihilates anything in your path. And the only way to recharge it is to perform leg chainsaw kills. It takes quite a lot to charge it up, and understandably so because it's so powerful. Oh, and before leaving this level, I gotta mention the other new implants that become available. You can get extra damage when switching to a new weapon, extra slots for your leg and arm augments, and even a second chainsaw leg. This is getting absolutely ridiculous. We come up on our first boss fight, and it's Maw, but instead of just fighting him one-on-one like the end of Act 2, now he's made copies of himself. And this makes fighting him so much more interesting and challenging. Lots of opportunities for plasma absorption, slow motion, and he brings in other enemies to support him. Excellent fight. And from here, Maw becomes a mini-boss character that appears from time to time in regular combat encounters. The ship blows up and we peace out, flipping the bird, and our car catches us during the freefall. The next level gives me what I really wanted, a return to the Neon City of Act 1. Cause when I think Turbo Overkill, I think Act 1. So it's cool to be back in the city for a level. But it's not just a retread, there's lots of cool new visuals to keep things fresh. And this music? What is this? It's pretty cool. Right away, checking the store, there's a new augment, Button Smasher, which significantly reduces the swap time between weapons. So now you can do this. Holy shit, the damage you can do with this thing is insane, especially in slow-mo. People are going to destroy the game with this. These new areas of the city are a pleasure to play through. It's beautiful, there's lots of well-placed action, you get to deal with a few Maw clones. It brings back those Act 1 memories, but with so much more on top. A new creature I haven't mentioned yet is the Centaur thing. Sorry, I don't know the official names. This guy is a great addition, definitely the best of the new enemies. He charges up a spear, a very fast projectile that sticks into surfaces and explodes. And when you kill these guys, they run around like crazy trying to explode near you. You don't find them often, but when they appear, they make their presence known. Passing this excellent level takes us up into a space war, and you're gonna get some serious Doom Eternal Mars core vibes here. We even get a Doom guy moment riding a nuke and steering it into an enemy ship. This level may be the best in the entire game. First of all, the spectacle. It's incredible that this was made by one guy. It's so impressive, and the low gravity makes floating around really fun. Inside the spaceships, there are some high-quality fights in great arenas. Since the game is starting to ramp up into epic moments, we get some free-for-all fun with a corruption zone granting infinite hand chainsaw, and a berserk power-up, which, yeah, I'm not really a fan of. But we also get a second corruption zone of all ion cannon, and it's a super cool fuck you moment to all these enemies, including the Maws. Hey, what's that? Oh, that's cute. On our way out of the ship, the human forces thank us for our help by giving over their mech, and we stomp out blasting away. You have miniguns and shock rockets, as well as a dash that kills anything you touch. It's a cool section of, at times, mindless killing, but it feels earned at this point after so many levels and hours of intense combat. It goes on a little long, and the minigun does sound pretty wimpy, but it's a cool section that leads to a boss fight. Now, if this were the final boss of the game, I would be quite unhappy with it. But it's just the end of the first part of the chapter, so I'm fine with how it plays out. You just shoot the eyeballs on the cube until the fight's over. It's not really challenging in the slightest. There's health everywhere, and you're just supposed to feel like you're bullying everyone. When the fight's over, we escape the ship as it explodes, and now we're headed to the final level. That's the end of part 1. It's been a wild ride, and I can't wait for the second part. Overall, Act 3 was an improvement over Act 2 for sure. Act 2 felt a bit uneven at times, even overly ambitious, resulting in some parts I flat out didn't like. Act 3 is for the most part a smooth and fun experience, and the developer's ambition here has been met by his increase in skill and focus. I'm sure you're all going to have a good time, and I can't wait to reach the end. Thanks for watching.